Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And, oh, we're kind of in a
Sort
red
of.
theme. A red and pink. Look, she should be in the middle though.
This is not pink.
Coral.
It's not pink, it's coral, but it looks pink because you're next to the red. Yeah, I'm wearing my
slightly
mariachi
different.
shirt that my brother gave me.
I'm wearing my Ruidoso shirt that my brother gave me.
I almost wore that, my blue version of that.
But she didn't. And that's not interesting at all.
I was thinking patriotic something, and I thought this is the only red
Oh,
shirt
that's
I
true.
own.
We just had the 4th of July. I hope
Yeah.
you had a happy and safe 4th of July. My 4th of July existed of, as I say, 0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just.
All I had to do, what I had to do on 4th of July was clean Hannah's room. And cleaning a craft space for me
Yes.
consists of putting stuff away. I did
And
throw.
stopping and saying,
I know. Oh, I think I remember how to punch needle. No, I don't. I'm sitting on the floor at like. Actually, that was that night, like 2 in the morning. Going, I think I know how to punch needle, and I hear Mark coming down the hallway, and I'm like, oh, if he walks in here and sees me punch needling at 2 in the morning, he's gonna be really mad. It might not have been 2, it might have been more like midnight, but yeah, like you're like, oh, I forgot about this project. I'll put in a couple stitches.
yeah.
That's why I
Yeah,
never get anything
I've been
done.
trying to pack my art supplies and craft supplies, and I keep coming across. Oh, I remember this. I didn't remember I had all that.
Yeah.
Oh, I bought more Sharpies, and I already have these Sharpies.
That's what I did. Well, I was going
I'm
through.
talking about
Yeah.
a whole bunch of colored Sharpies.
Yeah.
I was going through that drawer, the drawers that I use for as a nightstand, and the other day I was at the store, and I saw I thought, you know what, I need pens, because the pens that I use every day, they're starting to kind of crap out, and so I thought, I might as well just get new pens. And so I don't know, it was at Walmart or Target or someplace, and I bought a little box of like 4 pens, right? And then so when I was cleaning up this drawer, there's a brand new package of pens in there. And not only that, but there's a couple of brand new
What
packages
is
of
it Mother
Sharpies.
always said?
When you clean, you find treasure.
You find treasures, and she was
I've been saying that.
annoyingly and frustratingly correct.
Yes.
I've been repeating that with Robert, and he's like, I said, well, look what I found.
I know. In other words, we should do it more often. But
Yes.
so yeah, I cleaned up.
And
That's what I did
a
for
friend
the
of
first.
ours, a viewer of ours, was doing the same thing. So
Yes,
we have
and
a box.
So we have a
Thank
box.
you, Vicki.
Thank you, Vicki. Here's the box. And so we're gonna unbox the box.
And very conveniently, when we got that out of the thing, it had a hole in it, so I was able to hook it with my finger.
Oh,
If
okay.
anything wasn't damaged.
So the first thing is a bag.
There's 2 bags. Like
There's
exactly.
2 bags, but this is the first one. I'm getting an email from my workplace. Ooh. Okay. Ooh. Let's see what's in this. Oh my gosh. That's fun.
That's beautiful.
It's like
It's like
textured yarn. It's got sparkles and curly cues
In all different colors.
in all different colors, rainbowy colors. That's pretty. Thank you, Vicki.
It's about Hannah's here. She might steal it from you.
Yeah. Oh, this is gorgeous. This looks to be about maybe DK weight yarn. I really like those colors.
Mhm.
That's very pretty. That would make a nice shawl or scarf. That's party. And then, oh, this is a kit. 2 skein knitting kit containing 7 different yarn types and silk ribbon. And so here's a silk ribbon that goes with it. So I guess all of these are a kit, and including the yarn, the silk ribbon, and it shows on here.
Oh, a shawl.
Yeah,
That's pretty.
7 yarn, ribbon, scarf, or wrap, and it gives you all the scarf size or the wrap size. So I assume that means you make a skinny scarf or a wide wrap, and that is really cool by
That's pretty.
Scano Company. Yeah,
Oh,
and it has the instructions inside. Wow, thank you, Vicki. This is fun.
I like the colors.
It's
of
really
it.
pretty, yeah. That's really neat, and it's got all different kinds of yarn, like this curly Q yarn, but it's all in one skein, so you don't have to change yarns. And then it just has this base, which is, as you notice, like kind of complementary, similar colors. That's cool. That will be fun. Oh, I like the bag. I'm big on bags.
You know,
I like the fact that it cinches at the top.
It says skein.
Don't forget your ribbons.
I got 'em. Oh, I thought I had 'em.
I was gonna say,
It's a kit.
when I was,
That's fun. Okay. Second in the box. Looks like maybe another kit. That's exciting. This time I want to read the paper first. Oh, and it's it's the same exact thing, but in a different colorway.
ooh,
Look at that.
ooh, I
I
love
know
those
somebody
greens.
who likes green. I said I know somebody who likes green, in case you didn't hear me whispering. Oh wow, pretty.
Oh, yeah.
And look at these ribbons.
That's
Those
gonna
are
be beautiful.
Beautiful.
In that
So
that
it's-
scarf,
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah. So it's another, and these are all. This is mohair, pisa, glitter, shimmer, glitter boucle, merino bamboo, and biella. I don't know any of those names, but I assume it's Skano's
Yeah.
yarn types. Oh, okay. Mohair, merino, and oh yeah. So one is mohair merino. The piece of glitter is alpaca, merino, and lurex and nylon. The shimmer is superwash merino wool. I assume that's what this is. Then there's, oh maybe not. The glitter bouquet, boucle is the stuff with the glitter in it in the big thing. And then merino and bamboo, and then biella, which is baby alpaca, nylon, and mohair. And this also has precious, which is silk and merino. I don't know what that is. Which kind of, that's all the contents of all this yarn. So I assume like most of it is all wrapped up into one big skein. You just knit with one skein, and oh, see here's this real shiny. It's like it's a, what do you call it? Like a
Oh, yeah.
tube spun, or like a tubular yarn, which is made in a particular way. Wow, this is beautiful. Gorgeous.
Thank you,
gorgeous.
Vicky.
Thank you, Vicky. That is fun. Good thing I just cleaned out my craft room, a room for more yarn. That's fun. Okay. 2 yarn kits. And then, looks like a bunch of stuff for you knuckleheads in here. Let's see. Okay. There is a pattern called Thankful with a swan. Thankful Swan is what it's called.
By Lindy Stitches.
By Lindy Stitches. That's very cute. Little chart.
I want to say.
Oh, they're gonna fight over this. It's called Bunny Garden.
I love it. I have one that'll
Look
go
how
with
cute.
it. Another bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
do.
looks like you.
Yeah,
It looks like
I
Daisy.
do not have that. Now that I see it, I don't have it.
Bunny Garden by Stitching with the Housewives.
Yeah.
It's a recipe book
A
with
recipe book.
other. That's one of the ones that are released at.
At Market,
Yeah, and
Tried and true recipe shared by needleworkers.
at Nashville New Market. So there's.
And there's little patterns inside.
yeah. I have
Aw.
one. I have one that I got at the attic, and that's
Cheese,
that's-
please. The one that's called Cheese, Please. Oh, these are cute.
The sad thing is that most of those don't have like a picture of the pattern done.
Yeah.
Or they do, but the
But it's
pattern's right next
Well,
to it.
you know, it's you're
And they're
able
very
to crop
small.
it out, you know,
Yeah.
if you want to take a picture of it. But
Dill pickle
like There was one of those that I
that's
wanted to do for cross stitch camp, and I was like, "There's no picture."
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, it's a recipe as a pattern. Shaker lemon pie.
Okay, I need to make that.
Neat.
I love
Neat.
lemon.
I like the little squirrel at the back.
Yeah, the squirrel with rosemary.
Is that?
Looks like he's wearing a little hat.
I was trying to see.
I think I've
Rosemary
seen
squirrel.
that squirrel before. Who's the designer?
Copyright
Blue
2022,
flower.
the blue flower.
Yeah,
Janine McGowan.
I think
Yeah.
I've seen it before.
Yeah, she does a lot. She has a whole bunch of squirrel things.
That's so cute. Thank you, Vicky. That's neat. And then paint brushes. Ingleside Imaginarium, spots and stripes. Oh, the snakes.
Snakes. Are
Dragons, I think.
Dragons.
Dragons, I think.
Spots and stripes. Oh yeah, and
Dragons.
dragons. Be Stitch Me's Dragon Mystery Box. This will be your dragon collection. Dragons. Dragon, snakes, same thing. Halloween
Snakes with
calendar. Oh, that's cute.
I think that's
Tiny
In
adorable.
October.
Absolutely adorable.
That is really cute.
Let me see.
Gotta stitch it now so it's ready.
Oh, that's cute.
But what if Halloween doesn't start on a Wednesday? Just kidding.
Does it say what year?
No,
But
it doesn't say what year.
Ask my mother what you do.
Yeah, you just bring it back.
They come back. Yeah.
My mother loved to keep calendars.
Guess who does it now?
You.
Mark.
Mark?
Mark went. Oh look, the tree's gone. My husband's outside with a little tiny mini chainsaw this big, and he bought. And he got it today, and he's already chopping the tree down. I don't hear ambulances, so I think everything's okay. Yeah, no. So every 7 years you can bring calendars back. So my mom had a whole bunch of cloth and also the ones with the little
Wooden slats.
wooden slats. And Mark thought that was the coolest idea, and so he's actually ordered some, and we rotate them now in the hallway. We took Mom's collection.
I was say when I was throwing
So
things
cool.
away, I had a calendar that somebody had given me for for Christmas, I guess, or something, and it was really beautiful. But
But it was the wrong year.
yeah, it was a 2022 calendar.
But you
and-
didn't think, oh, I could keep it for.
Well, yeah, I was looking at it going, well, I had that thought. I could keep it until it comes back, but
I know you got to get rid of something.
yeah.
But this is really cool.
Isn't it pretty?
And
That's
it's
pretty.
just
Cute.
the month on a grid. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what year.
I
That's
think,
kind of
like
I
a-
think if
kind of
you
like
go-
a
I think if you went to
advent
like
calendar.
October, you could start on the 1st and just do one thing,
One a day.
Mm-hmm.
and you would be done by the end. But you would have to finish the Happy Halloween and the before that,
And the
and
the
the
grid.
frame,
Yeah.
and the frame. But you could do the frame as you go.
You could do the grid in September, and the Happy Halloween in September, and then
I'm not
start.
good enough at counting to do that without putting the stuff in it.
No, but you could do the grid.
Yeah, maybe.
Somebody could. Oh, Mighty Mittens. Okay, so I
Knit picks.
owe my knit picks. I owe my my aunt a pair of mittens. She gave me a knitting kit, and I was like, "I'll make something for you. What do you want? You want a hat? You want a scarf?" And she's like, "No, nah." And then she goes, "What about mittens?" And I was like, "Okay." This was 2 years ago. I have not made the mittens. And I've been looking, actually I did spend time looking for a color work knitting pattern because there's 4 colors in that kit. And I was like, I should use something that incorporates all these colors. They're really beautiful. Actually, I have them over in my room. This is actually so exciting and so timely because I just pulled that kit out and I'm like, I should do something with this. And it came with straight needles. It's like a learn to knit kit. But I'm like, I'll just use it to make some mittens for her. And here is my answer.
You know what I came across while I was
How
packing?
cool.
Some circular needles. I'm like, I didn't even know I had these. Where'd they come from? Yeah, but they're not where you can switch the sizes.
Right.
They're just
Because you were working on that
no. They
It's
weren't
different.
even with that. This was in like a tote bag with other stuff that had nothing to do with knitting. I was like, where did these come from, and why do I have them?
Well, this is exciting too because it has worsted weight directions and fingering weight directions, and you just, oh, that's so cool. Thank you, Vicki. This is like so perfect, because that's the other problem is all the knitting patterns I found for mittens were using fingering weight yarn, and this kit is worsted weight yarn, which is thicker. So that's very exciting. And then it has the patterns in the back. Oh, perfect. Thank you. That's mine. Okay. That's exciting. Oh, okay. And then some add-ins. Here's some fringe yarn, pink fuzzy. Oh, this is looks like scrap. It says Scrap Essentials from Joann's. It's different textured trims. That sounds like up your alley. And also this, more trims. Look at
that
those.
bright green one. I love
bright
it.
green one. Those are going to be so cute.
Little pom-poms and rick-racks.
For all your finishing. That's fun. And then here's some more. Felt border. Oh, it's flowers. It's like a felt, like
Garland.
like a, yeah, like you can put around the edge of a pillow or something. And then same thing in brown. And then this.
That's Baker's twine.
Huh? Baker's twine.
That's neat stuff.
In blue and white. Cool. Thank you so much. Oh, and here's some more little pieces of ribbon and
No,
floss.
that's
what is
floss. That's WIP Dye Works.
I thought the ribbon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, WIP Dye Works.
That looks like something from Lindy Stitches. She often puts ribbon around them.
I wonder if this
like
goes with the pattern.
Maybe it goes with the swan.
I was gonna say I have.
Doesn't look like it.
I have a Lindy Stitches.
This doesn't look like the right
Colors.
Those are all DMC colors.
This is a set of WIP Dye Works Grassland, Queen Anne's Lace, Winter Wheat, River Otter, that's pretty, and Cardinal. I don't know what those would go to. That doesn't, I didn't think it,
You know, a lot of people
does
do
it go to this
a
one?
floss of the month or something like that. It could have been something like that.
No, it doesn't go to this one. I don't know, but it's beautiful.
But it's WIP Dye Works.
It's WIP Dye Works, which is really nice. All right, fight amongst yourselves for those. Eve, you know what you should do?
Yeah.
Get these colors and design a pattern.
Okay.
Oh, those are yours. Thank you, Vicki. That is so amazing.
So much fun in a box.
Yes. I'm so excited about the mittens. Okay. Wow, that's great. Okay, so Eve, you're going first.
Yeah. So I pretended to start on my cross stitch camp.
And Vicki sent us a nice card.
Yes, it's
Thank
a very nice
you.
card and very nice sentiment inside. So I pretended to start on my cross stitch camp piece. I started on the 1st, but I wasn't feeling well. I realized, not on the 1st, later, that, well, maybe it was on the 1st. The 1st was Monday, right? Yeah.
Could have been.
Yeah. The first of what? I
couldn't
wasn't paying
figure out.
attention.
I couldn't figure out why I wasn't feeling good. I had an infection that I didn't know I was an infection, and I realized then it was. And now that I've been taking antibiotics, you know what? I feel better. But that day I stitched just a tiny bit. I mean, a tiny bit. I was all excited to start on this, and my eyes wouldn't focus, and I was having kind of, the medicine made me feel ooky. Yeah. It's one of those medicines that the doctor says, he said to me, how's your stomach? before he prescribed it. anyway, and then of course we're boxing things in the house. I've been having to go through my cross stitch. What can I live without right now?
Yeah.
That would be hard.
Well, Robert said I could put it in the closet.
Oh, okay.
He said they're going to realize that people are living here, so
Right.
there's going to. But as long as it was neatly put in the closet.
Right.
Okay, what do I want where I don't have my hands?
This is such
on
a good opportunity though for you to like. I was thinking about that, like just completely like, organize, purge. Like that's what I did in here. Like I'm not just gonna.
That's what
clean.
Vicky does.
Yeah, I'm not just gonna clean. I'm gonna
Yeah.
also purge and organize. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Life is Better Meow, Erica Michaels. The buttoned up collection. It has buttons. I decided to do the pillow. And now I have trims. No. Not these kind of trims. But I decided to do the pillow. And I am doing it in different colors because I want it to look, it's not going to look exactly like the cat, but I kind of want it to, I kind of want it to look like the cat, the cat we just lost. And I didn't get very far. So far, that's what I'm working on today. So far, all I have is
It's
most
the
of the tail. So I probably put in more stitches sitting here listening to you than I have the rest of the week. And then I needed to work on, I think I was going to work on my
Glitch.
WIP-GO project from last month, which I didn't bring because I think the last time I worked on it was Saturday.
Oh, okay. A week ago.
Yeah, here, watching the video.
Uh-huh.
But I wanted to work on that, and it's on my tablet. And I opened my tablet up, and this little dude was there. And here's the picture of him because I don't know what I did with the picture. And I finished his body. The only cross stitches to do are half stitches down here in blue, and I think the blue that's charted is going to clash with the
fabric.
with the fabric. So I'm just going to pick a blue. So I decided to just go ahead and start on the back stitching. Well, you're supposed to back stitch the white in one strand. And I actually got further than what I am here with the back stitching of the white. And if you're interested in what it looked like with one strand, you could look at my video from last Monday, not this coming Monday. And you'll see that the snowflakes didn't show at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like they sunk into the fabric, and I don't know if it's the type of Aida this is or what, because usually with one stitch it shows up,
Yeah, I often use two because just one strand.
It was just like, why am I going through all the work of stitching these when you can't see them?
Mm-hmm.
They were so, the snowflakes are part of the design. I want to see it. So they're not incidental, in other words, because it is called Corgi and Snow. So I had to redo them. This little dude is going to be so cute.
He's adorable.
Okay, so I likely will not work on that again anytime soon because I have other things I need to work on. I need to actually do my WIP-GO for this month. I didn't put one stitch yet in on any of them yet. Okay, so I did some more of the flower section of 2023 temperature SAL down here. And this is where I am.
That is gorgeous.
So
I'm telling you now, after this, you need to make just that little flower panel into a something.
it would make a cute little drum.
Or even just a little, I don't know. It's so pretty.
Anyway, so this flower right here, the rest of it is in greens. So the actual flower part is done. So
do the colors progress? Yeah.
yeah, from hot to cold.
So you're kind of right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
The colder side.
So this section is done. So
The Phoenix section. Now you're getting to the other part of the country.
yeah. So the border is 918. Okay. And I already had in this bag because, you know, the 918, which is also called for on this. It's one of these hotter colors here. I'm probably going to run out of 918. I mean, when you look at that, June turtle.
Oh my gosh.
So hot, right? It hovered between 109 to 111 all week. Each day the high was 109 and then 111. And then we come to the few days so far that I stitched of July. So
Let me see.
yesterday it was 117.
Yeah, I was gonna say I read something
It's
about
only-
118 somewhere.
It's only the beginning of July, and then I read a little news blurb, but it wasn't the hottest place.
Yeah.
It was 124 in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's on her way probably right now to LA. She's spending time up there, and then on the way back, she's like, I'm gonna stop in Palm Springs, and I'm like, why? But okay.
Well, it's supposed to be a nice place, but I don't know about this time right now. Anyway, I'm gonna run out of my reds. You know, last year
So
during
excited.
July, we had this very, very hot section where it was above 115 for like, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Above 110 the entire month. And I used that hottest color right here for the hottest color. It's a slightly different red. You can kind of sort of see it, that it's different. It's that very last color right here. But I think it's cool when I saw people doing temperature charts. I was like, you know, the temperature isn't really. It's warm and it's hot, you know.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Yeah. So I thought, why would I do any of that? And the 2 years that I've chosen to do it, we've had these weird temperature things. I think it's going to be a really super hot summer.
Yeah, but it's cool to see. I saw, remember I sent you a picture of the quilt?
Oh, I love
quilt.
it.
There was a quilt somebody made, not for a calendar year, but for a baby's first year, which I thought was a great idea, from the day of their birth till their first birthday. And it was little houses, and the house color, the roof color was the high temperature, and the house color was the low temperature of the day, which I think in Arizona would be actually even more interesting, because I think that, especially in the winter, like people think it doesn't get cold here, but it can be freezing at night, but be like, regular shirt weather during the day. Like I think the contrasts in lows and highs are really fascinating.
I think that's why people get into trouble. If you're not from here, you don't understand that it is beautiful in the morning. And there are tons of hiking trails. but don't hike in the summer.
Yeah.
Because when in the morning when you wake up, you're like, oh, it's so nice out. Let's go do something outside.
Yeah.
And then it's 100 and
something sneaks
Yeah.
up on you. Yep.
yeah, it
Yep.
just sneaks up on you, and you don't realize how much water you need and all that. So anyway, that is all I have.
Shall I go next?
Huh?
Shall I go next?
Yeah.
So, I didn't open this up. So this week, remember I told you, I'm gonna make I'm finally gonna make my swatch, which I didn't do. But I did, last week, I'll take a picture of this up close. Down here in this swatch, this is for my professional knitter certification. Down here in this swatch, I really have a problem with enlarged stitches every other row. And remember on camera last week I was trying to solve it, and I solved it on the left hand side, but I was still struggling on this right hand side. And then the other night, look how much better it is compared to down here. So the other night I kind of figured it out, and what it is you have to tighten up a couple of stitches at the beginning of the row so that when you come back there's not as much slack to gather as you go to the end. But I realized that on my knit pass I have to do the edge stitch regular, tighten 2 stitches, then do a regular stitch, and then tighten 2 more, and then go. And then on the way back, those 4 tight stitches kind of take up the slack that gathers naturally on a row. So so I was really encouraged when I did a few rows and it looks good. I'm gonna keep working on it on this swatch, and then get to a point where I can go ahead and feel confident about making a swatch. It's taken way too long to make a stockinette stitch swatch, but that's the story there. The other night I decided to pull out Hannah's sweater again. I haven't gotten much progress from the last time you've seen it, but this is kind of where I am. I really like that you can see this is going to be the main body of the sweater, and I like that the contrast is really, really good still. I mean, it's better than I expected, actually. So that's what I do
You can really
there.
see the pattern.
Yeah, you can really see the pattern now, and but it is very slow going. The stitches are so small, and it's so slow. But and I took a break from it for a long time. And then behind me, note the dress. This is the famous Hannikin, and I was so frustrated with Joann's that day. I bought this fabric. I don't know if I remember I told you. I think I brought it to a recording, but this is
Yeah, because I remember the edge was
what's
all
it called? The
smocking.
yeah, it's like a smocked dress fabric you can just buy.
And somebody bit it across.
Someone chewed on it on the first edge, and then the girl that cut this for me, cut the top with scissors, and when she got to the skirt, she just ripped it, and that made a straight edge. So then when I cut off the ragged side to make this, I did the same thing, and it worked very, very well. So I just stitched it to the mannequin's measurements, and actually Hannah arrived last night, tried it on, and it's like probably 6 inches too big for her. So I need to adjust the measurements on this, so because I think everything I've made on her so far for her that's fit on here has been big. So I need to adjust it down. But it's easy because I sewed the hem. All I have to do is, find the new
That's
spot.
a better
and sew a
problem
new
than it being too small.
Yes, tons. So anyway, so this is it goes all the way to the floor, and I just gonna measure it on her and hem it up and fix the back seam, and then so you just make one seam all the way down, and then I think I might make straps for it with whatever I cut off the bottom. You just make little straps.
They can always be
make it
tucked
secure.
in.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
I
it's good.
have nightmares from when I had garments that were just elastic on top.
Yeah. So that's the other thing I did this week. Actually, okay, that's one of the things I did on the 4th, but I was supposed to be cleaning Hannah's room. And I was a little bit like, because that fabric had been just sitting around, and it not only was it had that one horrible ragged edge, it was like wrinkled up. It was wrinkled up when I bought it, just like chewing gum. So, and it just been sitting there in a bag in my craft room, in Hannah's room, and I was like, you know what? The best way to get rid of this, or to put it away, is to actually make it. It's one seam.
Yeah.
So after I got my sewing machine out and I did the seam, and I measured it and cut it and did the seam and then put it on here, and that's one project out the door, right? Anyway, I got it all done. She came home to a clean room with a bed she can sleep in. It's pretty amazing. I took out a giant bag of trash and a bag of yarn for Goodwill, and I did pretty good.
You know how we know that we have been successful in tossing things? Our trash can has been overflowing every week.
Yeah. It's called Time to Rent a Dumpster.
Well, yeah, except
just joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I did this week. I did work a little bit on my hat. Still, it's also tiny needles and tiny yarn, so it's taking forever. Here's my hat. It's supposed to be 18.75 inches long, and I think it's at 16 right now, which is driving me crazy. So that's my hat. I like this because it's no pressure. It's just knit in a circle, and that's really nice. No pressure, no worrying about gauge, no worrying about perfect stitches that aren't too big and too small. Anyway, that's me.
Okay. Last month I had as part of my WIP-GO, of course, I was doing Year in the Woods, the reindeer. It was my whatever number from last month on WIP-GO. And so I had worked on it the last few days of June. I had some, extra time or whatever. But I, because I have a, color completist nature, I worked on, and I had this brown out, and it's like, it bugs me because there's like a bunch of half stitches here where I want to go back and, I have to go back and finish it, but anyway, so I worked a little bit more on the reindeer, so I did more of his body, so I got the one color, his back legs, so he has back legs now.
So cute.
And a bit of his front legs. So
they're coming together. They're
Yeah.
coming together.
And so, so I had, and then I
love all these animals, how they look like knit stitches. Like, to me, that's like like kind of similar, Fair Isle knitting or something. It's so cute.
But
I love it.
So I cheated a little bit and worked the first day of July, whatever. I kept working on this.
The cross-stitch police
yes,
are
the cross-stitch police are coming. Because I wanted to get those legs,
Excuse me, ma'am. I understand you worked on your June project on the 1st of July.
So anyway, I worked a little bit more on the reindeer. And actually the bat is on my WIP-GO for this month, so I need to get... So that's why I had this fabric hanging around, because I was like, oh, we'll have to work on the bat. It's on the same thing. Anyway, so then also I did for cross-stitch camp, and this is all squished because it was in my bag and my cat kept sitting on it. Carrots Away this was by Sugar Maple Designs, Whitley Quimby. I think I called her Martha Quimby last week in my notes on my video update. But Whitley Quimby, Carrots Away. This is in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, the spring issue, 2024 spring issue. But so it's a little bunny in a carrot airplane dropping carrots. And so of course the challenge was to do different colors. What?
That's very violent.
It was to do different colors, and so last week I talked about how I basically changed them all to.
Maybe he's just planting carrots.
He's doing what is it? Crop dusting.
Yeah.
But so I changed them all to like Classic Colorworks and Week Style Works, and so I working on it yesterday, and actually the colors that I chose for the oranges are the same problem that you see in the picture here. That the stripes on the airplane are supposed to be a darker color of orange, and you can't.
Yes, you can.
I can see
They're
them.
darker.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're better than
Yeah.
the contrast
No,
that you
it's
see in the
very-
picture.
Yeah.
It's appropriate.
Yeah. So
If
anyway,
it were
I
any
was struggling.
darker, it
It
might
would
not
look
look
weird.
as good.
Yeah.
It wouldn't look carroty. It
Yeah,
would look
because really on a
cartoony.
carrot, it's just a shadow of the little
Yeah.
bumps.
The bumps.
So that's good. I think it's great.
Yeah. So I worked on I got the first half of the airplane, so that the tail end is over here. I have to do, and I haven't done the canopy with bunny yet, but and I did the part of one cloud, and I didn't realize it. I didn't even see it because of the picture here, but there's a border. That's what this border is.
Oh, I see.
Because I was looking at it going, let's see, where shall I start? Like, oh, there's a border all the way. So that's what
I
this
thought
little.
it was part of the frame.
Yeah, see,
'Cause the
yeah.
frame
I guess
looks similar.
I didn't see it. Yeah, so that's why there's a thread here because
You know, when I looked at the
using it to-
picture, I thought it was a bigger piece than what it is when you're
Mhm.
stitching it. I was like, why are you picking something so big?
Yeah, it's very small.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was using this to mark, like when I hit like I don't know, like here it was like it's like 29 stitches or something, and so this is like 20. So I could just keep track of where I was. So I still have to do the other side here. So I didn't count to see how far across here, I went. But, so, yeah. So anyway, but I've been working my way, I did all the little sort of brown color of the propeller and stuff like that. And working my way around. So I don't have too much more to go. The carrots and finish the airplane and then the little details here, but yeah, so that's coming along very nicely. And then just today started working on one of my WIP-GO. And this is, let me pull this thread to the back here. This is April Dolce Dormir by Madame Chantilly. And so when I started this, I just did the leaves on here, and today I'm working on the stem for the flowers, and this is on yellow. I think it's just even weave that I dyed myself. I thought it looked very springy, so I'm working on the stem of this vine thing. And I thought about working, actually I was going to work, across when I first was looking at it, thinking I would make the vine, going across this way, but I decided instead to go down to mark the
You're doing the big,
side.
the big version, not the.
Yeah, I'm doing this big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute.
So anyway, that's all I've done because all this week, again in trying to do, I have like been cleaning out some of my cross stitch stuff, been going through and getting rid of some things. I have like 2 of those plastic rolling drawer little drawer things. One that I have in my room that I do when I feed my cats, I use the top of it, to feed them, and their water bottle is on there and stuff like that. And so in there though, I have like a lot of fabric and various things like that, so that it's relatively handy because most of the time I'm stitching, I'm in my room, in my bed, whatever, and so it's very handy to have it there because but then like I have another one that was in my closet that had like random craft stuff. And so I was going through that going, well, I don't need this, I could throw this away, whatever. And one of the things I came across that I'm going to do on my channel as probably a giveaway. I have some patterns that I'm going to give away that I'm not going to do right away because, you know, I don't want to mess with that. But one of the things I found in that random craft bin drawer thing was a couple of plastic mugs that say Merry Christmas on them. And I think originally my idea was I was going to give them to my parents or something.
You mean like you put a stitching inside?
Yeah,
Oh,
it comes.
oh,
It's a little kit. It comes in like a plastic, you know, insert of the mug, and it has a little vinyl piece that you stitch on, and you put it in between them.
I
and
see.
You close it. Yeah, so it says like Merry Christmas and has a little reindeer and something on there. And actually, I have another one that I tried to make into a. I think at one point I had the stitching the little vinyl thing, and I had done that, and it came with like a white mug insert thing, and at some point I had separated them, and when I think it was when I lived in Little Rock, sometime when in Little Rock, I came across this mug, and I went, why do I have this mug? And I got rid of it. And then later on I came across the stitching, I'm like, oh, that's what it was for. And so, but at one time, the reason I had separated them is because I wanted to use the pattern that was on that vinyl thing. It's a very pretty little Christmas thing that had like somebody in a sleigh and blah, 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 some trees and stuff. And so I had thought originally that I could put it on one of those little Aida inserts on a hand towel.
Mm.
And I had done it, I was stitching it in some kind of gold sparkly thread. And then I was mostly done with it, I think, and I realized it's not going to fit on there. It's too tall, or it's too something. And so, you know, I abandoned that idea. But I think I had the stitching vinyl piece. I think I have it somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, so I was like, well, that's one of those lost opportunities, I guess. But anyway, so I've been going through that drawer thing, getting rid of stuff and rearranging stuff to make more room and you know, all that. So yeah. So, but I have such a long way to go. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You'll get there. That's work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just spend time. Actually do it.
Well, yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, because I keep thinking, I was stitching going, I should be cleaning stuff. I should be, yeah, but I want to finish this, Garrett.
So we went to rent a
done?
storage unit.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm sorry. We went to rent a storage unit yesterday. And the guy took us up and he showed us the unit and all that, and then, you know, we got the unit and the keys and what have you. And we went to go back and went, how did we get there?
Yeah, trying to let it go.
And there's a map right in front of the elevators and stuff, and we're like,
Oh, to the actual one.
Yeah,
The actual.
because you know, we
he
had
showed
followed
us
him
the
back.
actual one that he was going to rent us.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so, you know, we had followed him back and whatever. But then, like, when we got up there, we were like, wait. So we started off one direction, like, wait, no, these are the wrong numbers. And it's like, you know, when you go to visit someone in the hospital or something, you're trying to figure out which hallway to go down.
Because I thought, oh yeah, you know, it was easy. We just went like this and this, and then we were there, and then we realized we just went the wrong direction.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
We should have looked at the sign.
Yeah.
So, I have a funny story to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I have not told you guys. On Monday, the 1st of July, we were at work and the fire alarm went off. There's an emergency in the building, everybody can get out. So we're like, okay, we go down the stairs. We argued about which corner we were supposed to meet on because we didn't have our information straight. But we were outside and then we weren't outside for very long, you know. And then all of a sudden they were like, gave the all clear, and we all went back in. And that was on Monday. And then, I believe it was Monday. I'm trying to think now. Maybe it was Tuesday. I can't remember now. No, it was Monday. And then on Tuesday morning, so what I do, I bring to work my breakfast because I'm trying to run out of the house. So I get to work and I make my breakfast. And what I've been doing lately is I have yogurt with like granola and mix in, and then I have this very expensive bread that I found that I can eat. And I take a little Laughing Cow, because I got a bunch of Laughing Cow at Costco, which is so good. You know, little square Laughing Cow cheeses. So I toast the bread and then I spread that cheese on there, and it's so good. So I got to work on Tuesday morning, and I put my bread in the toaster. Boop, had my little plate and my cheese waiting there for me by the toaster, and then I went back to my desk and I mixed my yogurt with my granola, and then I was like, oh, and I started answering emails, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, horrible, high-pitched, it wasn't the same as the day before, just high-pitched screaming alarm. And I was like, are you kidding me? We have another drill, another problem. Marks get nice. We have another problem. Are you kidding? What is going on in this building? And so I stood up, and my colleague was getting up, and I was like, but this time I smell something, and it's screaming so loud. It's like ear-piercingly loud. And so my desk is here, right around the corner is the kitchen. And I'm like, so then I go and I turn the corner and I see people going, it's the toaster. And they're like waving, so they unplug the toaster. And you can see smoke coming out of the toaster. It's my bread. And I was mad because I like that bread. It's the only bread I can eat, right? So I was like,
you forgot your toast?
No, well, I did forget my toast. But the toaster also forgot my toast.
It didn't pop it up, and
yeah, because it was like set right in the middle. It should have released it, and it didn't. So it wasn't my fault, okay? Yeah. So this is the story of how I tried to burn down the symphony. It didn't work. Yeah. So then, so I went and got tongs and pulled my toast out of the toaster and put it in the sink and because it was just continuing to smolder, know. So I wet it and everything, and I was so embarrassed. All day I was like, I'm sorry. So then here comes the building manager. He turned it off, and then he kind of walked down to Sybil, this coworker I have named Sybil. He looked in her office, and I was like, I'm sorry, it was my bread. And he goes, well, I'm taking the toaster out because this is the second time this happened. Sybil burned a piece of toast in there like a while ago. I didn't know. I had no idea. I had used it, and it had been fine. But I guess it had this problem before. And somebody else told me that you press release and it won't release. So it had been having a problem for a long time. But yeah, so they confiscated the toaster. So I tried to get out of work that day. It didn't work.
It's like calling it a bomb scare or something.
Yeah. So
do you remember when we were in high school? They used to call bomb scares all the time.
When we were in elementary school at Sierra Vista, we went out on a fire, and you might have not been there yet. Still, I mean, by then. But yeah, we had a fire drill, whatever, fire alarm go off.
It was like a fad in the 70s.
Yeah, it was because of Vietnam and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's when.
And that's when I discovered in high school what is that? It's not mace. It's that they throw in.
Tear gas. Yeah.
What it smells like.
Oh yeah.
Because somebody released some of that inside the high school, and so they had to air it out so we could go back in.
Yeah.
And you go in and it's still stinging your eyes, and I'm like, why aren't they letting us go home?
Was that at West Mesa?
No, it was at SEAL.
I remember that.
Yeah, so I tried to get out of day's work. But
no, West Mesa just had the gang fights that we had to sit on the bus.
Oh my God. The mean streets of New Mexico.
Well, when I was in graduate school, in the graduate dorm, there was an incinerator in the basement, and each floor had a little chute to go to the incinerator. And the idea was, what you were supposed to do is if you had like, paper trash in your trash can, you go to the incinerator chute and you dump it, whatever burnable stuff down the little chute to empty your wastebasket or whatever.
It sounds kind of risky to trust a bunch of knucklehead
Yes,
college kids.
yes, I think so.
Even if they're graduate students.
Yeah,
with
so
deciding what is appropriate and what is not appropriate to put in there.
So anyway, so they had the incinerator chutes, but they did not go directly to the incinerator. They went to a little holding bin, and when that bin internally, when that bin was full, it would dump into the whatever chute that went to the incinerator. So you weren't supposed to put burning stuff in there like cigarette butts and things like that in the incinerator chute, because it did not go directly to the incinerator. So if there was anything in the bin, in the holding bin area thing, whatever, it would start a smolder fire. So every single stinking weekend, it seemed like, almost every weekend, that the smoke alarms would go off, or the fire alarms or whatever. And so, of course, you don't know if it's real or fake or whatever, so you have to go out of the building. This is a 14-story tall building. And
you're not allowed to take the elevator.
Yeah, and so and I lived on the second floor, so it was pretty quick for me. But you look up and like the building was shaped like an X, and so on the ends of the X's were the stairwells, and they had windows, there, so you could see people coming down the stairs, and so it got to the point where the smoke alarms would go off. And people would walk to the stairway, and they would look to see if there was a fire truck coming or whatever. And so you could look up there, and there would be a whole bunch of people waiting to see if they should continue down or not.
That's how it was at my apartment, because the fire box right outside my door used to beep constantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember
constantly,
that.
And you could hear it inside. And I kept complaining to the office, and one of the ladies goes, "I know how you feel." I said, "Really, you don't?" I said, "Because that sound is penetrating my brain constantly."
Yeah.
And they didn't fix it. They would fix it for like a day or two, but they didn't truly fix it until it started setting off fire alarms, and all of us would have to go out and stand and. We would have to take our pets out, because I'm sorry, if there's a fire, I'm not leaving my pets inside, right? So, and go stand in the parking lot, and then the fire truck would come and turn it off. And I remember during one of those fire alarms, some young man was like hitting trying to break the little flashy light. I'm like, that's not going to turn it off, because it's so loud, and it would happen so often. And finally, and it was always a false alarm, because the thing was broken. And finally, they fined the company and they fixed it.
Yeah.
Because the fire truck was like, "We have better things to do."
Yeah, and the thing is that people get
complacent.
They get complacent because they're like, "Oh, well, it's another false alarm, or it's another smoke
Half the
smoke
people
thing,
wouldn't
or
come out
whatever."
at all.
Yeah, and so I had in Sunday school, it was all graduate students in my Sunday school class in this little tiny church, and half the time we'd all be all bleary-eyed because people would, here we are, having to get up in the middle of the night every Saturday night, and so Sunday morning we were all like, and because it was inevitably like somebody had a friend visiting, and the friend on the way out would toss their cigarette in the incinerator bin, and it would, and so it happened. So then one time though, I the smoke alarm went off, and I came out my door, and you could smell smoke, and I'm like, oh my God. And it was across the hall from my door was the little cleaning area where the cleaning staff, whatever, would come, but there was a trash can there, and somebody had thrown a cigarette butt in this trash can, and it had a plastic liner, And so
Gross.
whatever was in there, it's, set it on fire. And so, everybody had to go out, but it was like, yeah, there's the smoke, the fire right there, and yeah, it was a pain in the neck.
Well,
But-
I did it with my toast.
The scariest thing was when I had an actual fire in my apartment building, and it was crazy because this was the second apartment I lived in Little Rock, was got like kind of U-shaped, and I lived on one corner of the U, and so the alarms went off, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, and so I stupidly, I got my cat Cyrano. My cat Hotspur had just that weekend passed away, and but I got Cyrano and I stuck him in the carrier, and I put on a coat because it was February, and I went to the door, and like they tell you, I felt the door, and the door was cool, and so I looked out and I couldn't smell any smoke, and or anything, and I don't think I saw anybody there either. But I thought, well, it's always prudent to go out when there's an alarm, and so I took the cat, and I think I took my phone, I guess.
Yes, because you
And,
called me.
yeah, but I didn't take my purse, and I didn't take my instrument. I looked specifically at my bassoon, and I thought, oh, it'll be okay, because it's it doesn't seem to be a real fire, So I stupidly left it there.
Actually, that isn't stupid. I mean,
Well-
it would be if it got burned
That's
up
what
and
you're
all that,
supposed to do.
Yeah,
but you're not supposed to
yeah,
carry things.
yeah. So I lived on. It was a 3-story building, and I lived on the second floor. And so I went down the hall, and there's a set of stairs there, and I went down the stairs, and as I got to the bottom of the stairs, one of my neighbors was standing there, like holding the door open, and I said, "Is it a real fire? Is something really on fire?" And right as I said that, there was a fireman walking up the little. It was like a little courtyard, and there's a sidewalk, and then there's a door on either end, right? So he was coming up the thing, and he says, "Yes, the building's on fire. Get out!" And so I'm like, ah! And so then I thought, my instrument is up there, and so I went out, and apparently, the fire, because the girl, I said, "Is it really on fire?" She goes, "Yes, I think it started in my apartment," because she lived up on the 3rd floor, and the fire had started the 3rd floor apartments had like a loft space, and apparently the fire had started in the loft space of one of these apartments. So I don't know if she was in the middle apartment or the front apartment of my side of the building, but that was where the fire started. And so we all went out, and the people, a friend of mine lived on the other side of the U shape of our building, and the building was only like 27 apartments. But so she lived on the other side, in the front on the other side of the U, and she said she never heard the alarm because it was at 2:00 in the morning or something, and so people were asleep. And so she said she didn't hear the alarm; she heard the fireman pounding on her door.
Dang.
And so she had her dog, and she grabbed instruments. She lived with her boyfriend at the time, who was a violinist. She was the violinist, and he was the violinist. And so she grabbed the violins, and she played in a steel drum band. So she was grabbing instruments and dog and everything else. And she and I sat in her car. She had to move her car so the fire trucks could come.
Your car was trapped, right?
My car was trapped in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And,
the thing is,
and the scariest thing was looking up and seeing flames coming off the roof of the building.
there was an apartment fire not far from here. We heard all the, how you hear when the alarms are coming, and you hear them coming really close, and then they stop, and you're like, uh-oh. And so not our street, and there's a street, and then another one, and then that's houses, and then butting up against those houses is an apartment complex, and there was an apartment fire. And of course, Eli and I went driving around to see what was going on, but when we drove down that last street of houses, you could see the actual fires at night. You could see the fire. It was awful. But my cats, if the fire alarm went off here, my cats would go under, and I would not be able to get them
Most
out.
cats will.
Yeah.
You know, when I was working in the lunchroom schools, they would, schools have fire drills all the time.
Yeah.
And the fire thing would go off and we would ignore it because we had a finite amount of time to get everything ready and get it set out so that the kids could eat. And it was like all the time, this fire drill, right? But the fire guy who was, checking things out, he said, you cannot stay in here. You need to go out.
But
And so the manager's like, just go on out every time it comes off, right? So, but I grab my purse every time, you know? And so, but some people didn't.
yeah,
And so we went out to the playground where our station was, where we were supposed to wait. And I look over and I see smoke coming up from the science building.
oh yeah,
And I was like, that's why you go out every day.
Yeah.
right.
Well, when I went out, it was like I said, it was 2 a.m, and I realized when they said that the building was on fire and all that. So I had my phone, but I had no phone numbers of people that I thought I should call, and one of them was the pastor of my church. But so I called Eve because I think I tried to call you and couldn't get through or something.
Yeah.
Couldn't wake you up or whatever. Couldn't get you to answer. But I called Eve. So she was in New Mexico, and here I am in Arkansas, in Little Rock.
I was up.
Yeah. and I said, I was telling her, we have a fire in my building, blah blah, blah, and so, and I told her I don't have any local phone numbers for anybody, and so she had to
You
call.
didn't have any numbers in your phone itself?
No, they were like people I never called.
Remember, she never used her phone.
Yeah.
Well,
It
and not only
wasn't like
that, but
it wasn't like now where
Yeah.
she had numbers.
And
in
it
her-
wasn't a
in her
smartphone
purse.
either, where you
No.
could
Right.
look on the internet and
Right.
find
Right.
the numbers.
And so
of this
so
and
I
that.
had
This was a
phone
while
numbers
back.
Yeah, I had phone numbers of friends and family.
Or you couldn't even
you know.
email anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so
That was the strangest phone call I've ever made. I looked up his. You gave me his name and I looked up his number and I called and like she said, it's the middle of the night, so I woke him up and I called and I said, "Are you the pastor at such and such a church in Little Rock, Arkansas?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "I'm the sister of one of your parishioners, and her apartment is on fire. Her apartment building is on fire,
Yeah.
and she needs help."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Okay, what's the address?" And I gave it to him, and he says, "I'm out the door."
Uh-huh.
and I think I could hear his wife
Like, what's
talking to
going
him.
on?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was nice because I was sitting in my friend Beth's car, and she had her dog, and I had my cat. And so at first they seemed to ignore each other, but after a while they were like, But and the city, the Red Cross had brought a bus, for us to sit in, and so for a while I was sitting in there. It was an all-night ordeal, but so my pastor came at one point, and so we were sitting in his car because it was like sprinkling, raining, and it was freezing, and so I was gonna go stay at his house, but then his wife had reminded him that he was going out of town, and so was she, or something like that. It was some, and so I ended up staying at my music minister's house.
Yeah.
But I felt so bad because I guess, I didn't actually leave until the morning. We were able to go back into the building for a little while and get just essentials. So I got my toothbrush and
your
cat
horn.
food and my instrument. And, but for my cat, there was like in some of the buildings in the apartment, there was some water damage. And so in my apartment, there was water damage like on the floor in some areas, including where my cat's litter box was. And so so I just put like, I had one of those cardboard boxes of cat litter, and I was afraid it was going to be like mud inside, but the cardboard was wet, but the litter was okay. So I poured the litter in a plastic trash bag, and you know, took off that way. And so my friend Larry, our music minister, you know, I just asked him to give like a cardboard box I could put some litter into the cat, you know. But I felt so bad because his daughter's room that I was staying in was white everything, white carpet, white bedspread, white, everything was white. And I was like, oh my God, what if, you know, because I thought, what if, you know,
throws up,
yeah,
or his hair.
Yeah, or
Scratches
keys on the floor or something, you know. I was just like paranoid about it. And so I spent a few days at their house, and then a friend of mine had a spare room that we were able to live in for like a month.
Oh my gosh.
But so for the few days that I was staying with them, I took Cyrano to daycare at the vet. Our vet had a, you know, kennel thing, and so he would go and spend the day at the kennel, and then I would pick him up, and you know, so it was
thinking,
an ordeal.
I was thinking, there's no way I can cool the car fast enough to keep the pets in there. You know how Robert was saying, put the kennel in there and all that. I was like,
if we show,
I wonder if there's a place where they can go to daycare. You know, because it wouldn't be every day.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Be less traumatic too.
Yeah.
Well,
And less hot.
at first it would be, you know, like, what have you done with me? Where am I?
Yeah.
But that way they can go out and the people can be in there as long as they want, and we know that they're in an air conditioned building.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that, you know, a lot of people here in Phoenix, if they work where during the day and their animal cannot be outside and cannot be inside,
right,
they take them to daycare. Remember, I did that with Amiga when we first moved here until I could get things situated. So I had just been thinking about that before we started the video, that maybe daycare would be okay.
What was I gonna say?
Well, we were talking about putting things away for moving and stuff. When in that apartment, when they went through and assessed, you know, what needed to be repaired, whatever, every apartment. And so, like I said, in my apartment there was just water damage on one side.
I was going to ask, did you have sprinkler system in your apartment?
No.
Yeah.
But the apartment, I think the third floor apartments might have something weird. I can't remember, but I know that like.
But that was just from the
water damage was probably from the firemen.
Yeah, it was, because there was a woman who had, you know, like I say, we had a U-shaped building, and so I was on the corner, and on the, I guess the U part of the U here, there were some efficiency apartments, little apartments, and this woman had just moved in to the ground floor little thing, and she moved out the next day or whatever, you know, and somebody else had.
She just wanted to be displaced for a month.
Yeah,
and she just moved.
Yeah, and so some other person had, they had water damage in their closet, and it was as if somebody had taken the clothes and just like dumped them in the water and then hung them in the closet, because it was just, you know, water had come through, and like the people,
and you know, it's dirty water.
Yeah,
too.
and the people in the apartment above me, I think, lost everything because it was just wet. It was not from well,
fire.
The fire actually burned the roof off my whole side of the building and around to the middle of the U, and the other side where my friend Beth lived was not damaged at all. They put like a plywood door kind of
Did they
to
get
separate.
to stay there?
I think they were able to stay there, or at least they were able to go in.
Yeah.
But the whole building smelled like smoke for like I don't know how long, because I went in.
It's the worst.
We were not supposed to go in at a certain point, but I went in to get a couple of things, I guess.
That's when you found out that the workmen were eating your.
No, that was later. Like toward the end, you know, we've been, because they told me, you know, so many weeks or whatever, and so I went back. I would go back periodically because I would go to pick up my mail, and and so when I could, I would go up there to check to see how how far along they were doing it, because I guess they were doing it like in phases, like all the flooring people were coming in to fix the flooring, and then all the carpet people and all that kind of thing. So things were not like, they weren't going like, okay, we're going to do this and this and this and this apartment. They would say, oh, 6 apartments need carpeting, so they would,
Yeah.
And so, so then at one point I went up and looked at my apartment, and it was basically, or no, they told me, oh, your apartment's done finally. So I said, okay. So I went to look, and like in one of the closets there was a little piece of carpet. They had not tacked it down, and then the return air grill thing under the furnace, they had not put the grill back in. And one of the lights in the living room had some water damage. So a little bit of water had come through from upstairs into my light, and they hadn't fixed that. And then also, then what you were saying, in my refrigerator I had left a few things, and one of the things was some otter pops in the freezer, right? And I came back, and in my trash can there was the little otter pops, and said somebody had helped themselves to the otter pops. And then also there was a roll of paper towels on the counter that disappeared.
Oh no.
And also I found a little bottle of milk in the refrigerator.
Gross.
So, I was like, you're having your lunch,
Well, yeah,
so,
but they
I don't
have
mind them
lunch.
putting stuff in the lunch, but take your crap with you,
Well,
and don't eat
no.
my otter pops. But yeah, but a friend of mine came. She came to help me move stuff, because I was able to, like, they said you can stack your bedroom to the ceiling, but everything else, everything has to get out of the living room and out of whatever for them to work. And so my friend came and helped me, and we just crammed everything in there. And
I remember a story. Didn't you have to get something out of your desk, and you had to like reach your
Yes,
arm in
yes.
and try to
'Cause
get
it
into your
yeah,
desk?
I had to get something out of the drawer of my desk, and the desk was in that room, and there was crap in front of it and crap on top of it, and and I was like, I'm trying to, yeah, I remember
I
that.
remember you telling me that story.
But when I was when the work was all finished and I was able to move back in, it was somebody told me it's kind of like getting a brand new apartment, because everything was new.
The
Everything,
hard way.
Yeah.
The hard
But
way.
yeah, you had to go, but so.
Then you got to move all your junk
Do you
back
remember
down.
when Mom burned the kitchen?
Yes.
Um,
I remember that it smelled like horrible smoke.
we were supposed to all eat dinner there that night, and I think we ended up going to Max.
She didn't burn the
Dinner.
kitchen. She burned the stove, the
She
countertop.
It was a
thought she
smolder.
turned the stove off. It was
Yeah.
an electric stove. She thought she turned it off, but she left it on high. At that time, it was like little push buttons, and she just pushed the wrong end. And so the food that she had made just stayed on. And I think she went to go pick up Mark somewhere.
Yeah.
And I got home, and there was quite
Yeah,
cloud.
because she put her salad master spoon, which I love those spoons, had a wooden handle, and she put it upside down in the pan with the lid on the pan, so the spoon heated, the handle burnt
It was a
to
little piece of charcoal.
charcoal,
Yeah.
and it melted the, what was that? It wasn't corian, but it
Formica.
was formica, something ancient 1960s countertop. So that is really also what chemical nasty burn.
But it was,
food.
the house was white, and the dog and the cat really didn't like each other.
Yeah.
But I walked in, I was like, there's something wrong with the light in the house.
Hmm.
And I was going to go to a meeting downtown about the road behind the house. And I said, I'm tired. I'm just going to go home. I can't imagine if I hadn't come home
Yeah.
that early. And I opened the door, and the cat and the dog were trying to get fresh air at the bottom of the door. And I let the dog roam around unleashed in the front yard, because I just opened the door, and I grabbed the cat and I threw the cat in my car. And then the house had one of those portable phones, because at that time it was a long time ago, there was no cell phone. And, but I knew I could use the phone in the kitchen because it wasn't connected to the wall. But I knew that the fire was probably in the kitchen. And so I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I ran in.
Also in the days before cell phones.
Yeah, I ran in and grabbed the phone and saw that the stove was on, and I turned it off. And then ran out and went, and then I tried calling. I didn't want to call the fire department because there was no actual fire. You know, it was just smoke, really bad, nasty smoke. And then I ran in and opened every window I could open, and it was February, and it was a no-burn night. Yeah, but I couldn't get a hold of anybody. I kept trying to call. I think I called your apartment, and you know, I didn't know where anybody was, and
those
then
cell phones,
everybody
man, they
came.
come in handy now, don't they?
A part of me is like, how do you do things without? How did we
live without cell phones?
You know,
You memorize numbers, because that was one of the things that when I first started using my cell phone or whatever,
that goes out of your head.
I didn't know anybody's phone number.
I never remembered numbers before that. But when we were younger, Tim was in high school. He had a reaction to penicillin, and he passed out in the bathroom. And Mom couldn't think. She got to the phone and wanted to call somebody, you know.
There was a rescue firehouse down the street, and they had a rescue unit.
Right, and she just couldn't formulate words to say. And the guy goes,
number, right? There was a number on the phone.
There was a sticker on there on the phone, but she just kind of went, and he goes, I recognize your voice. I know where you live. you know?
Yeah, because it was our local fire department. It was a volunteer fire department, and so it was all local people in our neighborhood. And in those days, our neighborhood was relatively small. Paradise Hills was a pretty small area. It was before they started building it up now. But
there was one gas station.
So she said, I think she said something like, "My son Tim is passed out," or something like that. She was, and so they asked her.
Think.
Yeah, they asked her what her address was, and she couldn't come up with it. And so when you know the guy said, you know, I know where you are, and so they were there in no time, because it was just around the corner.
They called the city for an ambulance to take him to the hospital. There was no hospital on the west side, and they called for the ambulance to come while they were working on him, and the ambulance wasn't coming. They said, we can't wait any longer, and they put him on a backboard on the back of the rescue thing, and then the ambulance finally drove out. But you know, I've been fortunate. I'm allergic to a lot of drugs, but I've been fortunate that my reactions were never that. You know, they were severe, but they weren't severe where I couldn't function and get myself help. Tim, passed out.
Yeah.
And it could have been really, really bad if they hadn't been able to get him help right away.
Yeah.
The worst thing was when he got to the hospital. I think when he was, I guess,
he was a teenager, so they thought he was they thought he was high.
Yeah, and so he was semi-lucid by then, and they asked him, you know, like, who gave you these drugs? And he says, my dad. It's like, yes, my dad, the drug pusher.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so last night I had the weirdest dream, and it has turned into a whole thing. So often in the early morning, Eli will come into my room and I see his shadow, right, come in and he'll talk to me. And I guess that's what this was based on. But last night or early this morning, I had a dream that your son, Robert, came into the room and it was dark and all I could see was his shadow, but I could tell it was Robert, you know? And he said, who's that blonde-haired actress in Harry Potter? That's what I remember. And I woke up at like 5 in the morning and I was like, so in my mind, I had a picture of an actress with blonde hair, like whitish blonde hair. But the face that I remember was not in Harry Potter. Now I am awake now, but the fact that he asked me that in my dream, I'm laying there going, well, who is that? Because I'm picturing someone, but I'm like, no, that's not in Harry Potter. And then I thought it was the little girl in that stupid white wig in Little House on the Prairie. Do you remember and she was a bad actress, sorry. And she's like got this fake white hair.
The one that's naughty, one?
No. And then she cut it to sell it for her mom. And then she has this stupid white, like short white, and I found out her name in this search. It's Ginny is her name. And she sells her hair for her mother. And she wants to, or something. She wants to be in a play, but she doesn't. Anyway, it's kind of.
Do you
know
how long
episode.
It's been since I've seen that show?
No, the reason I remember it is because actually
you were watching it
when
a lot.
Mom died. I started watching from day one. It just made me feel close to Mom.
Yeah, I've been watching shows that Mom liked.
So that's why it's kind of fresh in my memory. And so I was picturing that actress. So I looked her up, and it wasn't that actress. It's I have a picture of this young girl with super white hair in a particular face, and I can't place who it is, and there's no way I can search at that. So I did search the little girl in Little House on the Prairie, and that was not the one I was picturing. So then I went and I searched the cast of Harry Potter, and of course the only blonde actress is the one that played Luna Lovegood. So this morning, at I don't know what time, it was 8:30, but I was like, I texted Robert and I said, last night I had a dream that you came into my room in the dark and asked me who the blonde actress in Harry Potter was. And I had an image of who you meant in my mind. Since I woke up, I've been searching through actors and images and I can't find who I was thinking of. But I think it must have been Luna Lovegood. So here's the answer you never wanted, Ivana Lynch. I just get this hysterical laughter text back. I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea why. But don't you, it's like those dreams that like where you, like, somebody does something in your dream and then you wake up and you're angry at them even though they never actually did it.
What I used to have was in that apartment building, the one that had fire. When I think when I first moved in there, I used to have all kinds of weird dreams, like there
it was haunted.
There was extra doors in my apartment. Really, I had a dream about ghosts, but like the way the apartment was. Because they had split up the apartments into what had been before, because there had been a fire in the building before they renovated it. But so like I said, I was in that corner apartment, and I think originally the apartment had been my bedroom and the bathroom, and there had been another bedroom, right? And originally, and the kitchen was on this side. And so I would dream regularly. One time I would dream that I was in my apartment, whatever, and realized at some point there was another bedroom. And so like outside the bathroom was a closet door, right? And it was a little weird closet. And I think that was originally like part of the entrance to the other bedroom. But so in my dream, the other bedroom was right there on the other side of the bathroom. There was another bedroom. And this was before I knew anything about before I had thought about the
weird.
layout.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then another time I dreamed that on the other side of the kitchen was another door, and there was to another apartment or something, because I went through that door and there was like somebody else's living room or something like that.
Yeah.
And I used to have all kinds of weird. And one time I dreamed though that I heard voices.
Ew,
And I went out,
creepy.
and like in the dream, I went out, and there was like a ghost family or something. It was like, oh my god! I used to have horrible dreams, and even I think I don't know if it was after I moved from my first apartment to the second one, that I used to dream that I was still paying rent on that apartment, or something weird. I just like weird dreams like that.
This was just so funny because like
That's
it's so
what's
random.
funny-
He's just like,
What's funny
like,
is that you answered
that?
his question.
who's that blonde actress in Harry Potter? Like, why do you need to know in the middle of the night, nephew love? But of course, I have to answer you. I have to figure out who it is because
We should
So-
go. We still have a house to pack.
Oh yeah, yeah. We should go. I gotta go to Costco. We gotta get ready for our cabin trip.
So, speaking of which, we had a mix-up about the day we have a piano that Naomi's going to pick up, right, to put her,
Yes.
as part of all this movie stuff. And so she had texted us about, will this date work for you? And so she had said the 12th, because I was thinking I knew they were going camping, and I'm going to be house sitting for them while they're out of town. And so.
And you said, what day are you going? I said the 13th.
Because I had thought, I thought you were going early, because I had just put like some random dates in where I thought
Right.
you're leaving. And so I was fixing my calendar, and so I put on the 12th in my calendar, I put piano movers, and on the 13th, that you're,
Yeah.
And so Thursday night, or whatever, Eve and I were talking about, the piano movers are coming tomorrow, and so I, because Naomi had said, they're coming like at 8 o'clock or between 8 and 9 or whatever.
And I said,
And
on the
so-
12th.
And so I said, so when I was like, I was up late stitching, and I thought, I can't stay up all night because I have to be able to get up and get dressed. And so like I think I went to the bathroom at like 6 o'clock in the morning or something, and I'm like, I can't go back to sleep because I might, sleep late or whatever, and I want to be dressed when these people come. And so like at 7:30, I'm getting up and I'm getting dressed, and I told Eve, don't forget the piano movers, and the night before we had like talked about, we need to get this out of the way and that out of the way so they can make room for the piano. And that morning when I got up I moved those chairs that we had in the living room. I moved them out of the way because I thought, okay, so I'm like, okay, this is moved out of the way. There's a clear path there for them.
And then this one calls me, Eve calls me at 8 or like 7, I don't know what time you called. And said, just let me know when you get here. And I was like, do you mean next Friday?
And I was like, oh, yes.
It's the 12th. And you go, oh yeah. I said, you did text me that. I said, yeah, that's why I used the 1 and the 2.
Well, and you and I had been texting about it, and I think I even said tomorrow or something.
When you said, get here early because I want to give you some framed pictures.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I was going to bring them today, and I completely
I know,
forgot.
but I was like, okay, but why can't I get them this weekend? And you were like, and so I thought that would have been a clue. But yes, we are.
I was going to bring you those pictures today. And,
Yeah.
and
And
I forgot.
so-
Now they're going to be in a way when they're moving things.
Oh my gosh. So,
All right.
yes, I'm getting the piano next Friday.
Yes.
So, I'm excited.
But you already made space for it.
I did make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I moved that. That's the other thing I was cleaning out was the desk that was there, my 1930s waterfall front desk, which I love very much. I'm like, I can't use it for work and let it be so full of all this junk that it's been full of since college when I bought it. Because I bought that when I was in college.
Yeah.
I had it in Albuquerque and then moved it here, and I was about to get rid of it, and I'm like, wait, why should I keep the IKEA desk that's in my bedroom that I work at and get rid of that. I'll get rid of the IKEA desk. But that, you see that's the IKEA desk over there. It has a tiny little drawer in the middle.
Oh,
Yeah.
You would not be surprised. I mean, you would be surprised how much that tiny little drawer holds, because I had this table full of the junk that I kept, and I threw away a whole bunch of stuff. Like, that drawer was full of stuff. So I had all this stuff.
All of the drawers in the mom's end tables and what's it called? Packed.
Yes.
Stuff.
So I emptied that. I purged, and I had stuff I needed to keep. That I could not believe how much stuff fit in that drawer. And then I emptied the pull-out drawer of that desk, the old desk, and I could not believe how much stuff was in there. and then it has two huge drawers that go on the sides, and they are full of like ancient history. So I threw a whole trash bag away yesterday. I still haven't gone through a lot of it. There's still like a couple of things I need to go through, but that's the other thing I was doing all week, was like purging, cleaning, and setting up and I needed to get Eli and I went all over Kingdom Come because I'm impatient. I was going to order a desk pad because I have a monitor, and you know, I didn't want all that on the antique. So I found a desk pad that was too much money at Staples or Office Max. Office Max, because Staples is gone. No, Staples, because Office Max is gone. Anyway, it was Staples, but it was a gaming pad, and so it goes diagonally like this, and it has all these gaming words on it. It's black, and it has this, and I was like, oh, even though the picture was on the box, I'm like, I didn't realize it would have that. I don't really like that. But then I also, at the same time, went to Walmart, because I thought, well, if Walmart has something, I'll just return that. And Walmart did have a nice kind of leatherish, I don't know if it's real leather.
Pleather.
And one side is cork, one side is leather, black, little one. But it's too, so the problem is my desk is very small front to back because it's so old.
Because it wasn't made to hold computers.
Right. It's very hard to work on. But then, so I found that, and I thought, but it's too small because it's only like, you know, like this big. And so, so what I wound up doing is I put the gaming one all to the right, where I keep my monitor, and then I put the black one kind of over it to the side. But with all the junk on there, you can't tell that there's two, and you can't see that ugly gaming thing. So it works. But yeah, it is hard, like, to have, because I have work on a laptop, and then I have my work phone and a big monitor. But it all works. So I got that all set up. And then we put that out here because Hannah's going to work from home while she's here, so she'll have a little desk. So it's been purging week. But we'll be recording early next week because we're going out of town. And then, but we'll still be
after the piano gets moved.
After the piano gets moved. And we go to the DMV. I took the whole day off because I'm like, kids, and I made Eli take the day off on Fridays. I'm like, we need to go to the DMV finally and
because
get
the sloths work there.
Yeah. That's the funniest scene. What is that? What's that movie?
Zootopia.
Zootopia is so funniest. But anyway, we have to go because we all need our real IDs, and then the kids still have their under 21 IDs that are sideways.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's just do it while Hannah's home. We'll just get it all done. So, but yeah, we can record on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to a concert that night. I'm going to go hear AJR. If you don't know who they are, look them up. I'll be the oldest person there. So, all right. Thanks for joining us this week, and we will see you again next week. Bye.
Thanks, Vicki.
Thank you, Vicki.